الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبي وحبيب إله العالمين أبا القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهاديين الذين ذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. قال الله العلي العظيم في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم وهم يفعلون ما يؤمرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Inshallah, tonight our topic is about the rights of children in Islam. What are the rights that Islam has written and designed for children? Normally we talk about the parents, their rights in Islam, how we're supposed to serve them, how Islam have made it mandatory upon every child to honor and respect their parents. Now in the same line, Islam talks about the right of the children too, because Islam doesn't leave a room for anything, nothing in Islam, unless Allah has put the law or the rule about it. That's why in Quran Allah says, "Ma farratna fil kitab min shay." Nothing in Islam unless it has the rule about it. Now you think about it. In Islam, Islam teaches you and I, when you enter bathroom, a bathroom, you want to enter, Islam comes and tells you which foot to put first. In the bathroom. You come in your own house, you want to enter, Islam tells you how to enter your own house. How to sleep in your own bed. Which side should you sleep? How should you sleep? Islam tells you. Right? Not only that, you come to the masjid. Islam tells you how to enter masjid. Adab al-masjid. Adab al-dukhul. Which foot do you put first in the masjid? And when you come out of the masjid, which one should you put first? All of these are mentioned in Islam. Right? Now just for your information, just to understand how Islam is particular in everything. When you enter the bathroom, right? Islam tells you when you enter the bathroom, Islam says enter with the left foot first. That's Islamic teaching. But when you come out, Islam says come out with the right foot. Opposite. Allahu Akbar. Right? Opposite of bathroom is in the masjid. Right? In the masjid, when you enter, Islam says enter with the right foot first. Right? When you come out of the masjid, Islam says come out with the left foot first. Now you might ask why? What is this left, right, left? What is the big deal? Islam. Now listen to Islam, the logic behind it. Islam says enter the bathroom with the left foot first. Why? Because your weight as a human being is mainly on your right side. Right? That when you put the left foot, your weight is still on the right. In case you are to die, you die outside the bathroom, not inside the bathroom. Right? Now, opposite of it in the masjid, Islam says when you enter the masjid, enter with the right foot. Why? Just in case if Allah is to take your life, then you die in the masjid, not outside the masjid. That's how Islam is so particular on these little things, right? So Islam is particular on everything. Your eyes has the right upon you. What to love, what you can't love. Your ears, it has a right upon you. What can you hear, what you cannot hear. Your legs have a right on you. And read the Surat al-Huquq of Imam Zayn al-Abidin, where it tells you everything And in this world, it has a right in Islam. Now, Based on that, we want to talk tonight about the right of the children, what Islam gave to the children as their right. Now, when you read most of the books that has been written about child upbringing, the right of the children, there are so many sayings. Some of them, they say, the right of the children start when they were born. Some say, no, at the age of 3. Some say at the age of 7. Some say at the age of teenager, right? And they have all different ages. But when you ask Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we want to ask you, because the Prophet said, Ana madinatul ilmi wa aliyun babuha. Right? فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْإِلْمِ فَلْيَأْتِيَ مِنْ بَابِهَا. I am the city of the knowledge, and Ali is the gate. You want the knowledge? Go through the gate. Now we go to Imam Ali. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, where the right of the child starts. Where does it begin? You know what Imam Ali said? Allahu Akbar. Amazing. Ahlul Bayt are amazing. He said, not at the time of birth. Not at the age of 3. Not 7. Not a teenager. He says it start, the right of a child start when? It start when a father and the mother start to think about choosing a spouse. Allahu Akbar. That is where the right of your child comes in. What is the right of my child? Imam Ali says, at the time you thought about choosing a spouse, the right of your child kicks in, right there. What is it? I say, your child has a right upon you as a father or the mother to make sure that you choose a good spouse who will be a good father or a good mother for him. Allahu Akbar. Now, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, how can I know a good mother? I'm a man. I want a wife. How can I tell who's a good wife? I'm a woman. How can I choose a good spouse, a good husband? Imam Ali come to tell you. If you're a man, I say, I gave you 4 qualities you have to look in a woman. Any woman that you find, and she has one of the 4, I say, go ahead and marry. She can be a good woman. She can be a good wife as well, and a good mother. Number 1, Imam Ali says, he says, the first quality you're supposed to look as a man in a woman or a mother to be, 1, I say, you can marry a woman because she has a lot of money. All right? Is anybody want to marry somebody who's wealthy? You want them. Just relax on the couch. Right? You have your remote control. You flip up all the channels. Right? The tea is coming back and forth. You don't have to worry about clocking in and out. What a beautiful thing. Right? One of the qualities the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt taught us is a tunkahul mar'atu limaliha. You want to marry somebody because they're wealthy? That's fine. That is 1. Quality number 2, you can marry a woman also because of a position. Limaqamiha. Right? She's a chair lady. She has a position. Right? And you want to be a husband to her. Islam says that's fine. That is number 2. Number 3, the Prophet said also you can marry a woman because of her look. And that is what we do, right? Our brain is on what we look. When we want to choose a spouse, the first thing comes in our mind, does she look cute? Does she look beautiful? Is she handsome? Right? That's what we look. The Prophet said, yes, you can do that. That is number 3. Number 4, then Imam and the Prophet, they both said, they say, وَتُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةُ لِدِينِهَا. You choose a spouse because of her religion. She fears Allah. She's practicing Muslim. Right? He is practicing Muslim. These are the 4 qualities. Right? But then the Prophet comes back and says, listen, I give you 4 choices. But if you want to ask me, my opinion as the Prophet, as an Imam, the best of all is the last one. Which is the one with the religion. Huh? Why, Ya Rasulullah? Why? What do you say? The 4th one? Why not the 1st? Why not the 2nd? Why not the 3rd? The Prophet tells you, he said, if you and I married a woman because of money, and the money finishes, what happened? Meaning the marriage is gone. Because the reason of marriage is money, and the money is gone, the marriage is gone. Meaning, a marriage cannot stay longer if it's based on money. That is 1. Number 2, the Prophet said, don't forget about money finishing. All right? if you marry a woman and she doesn't have faith in Allah, if it's just because of money, she will be always arrogant. Right? Always arrogant. I'm the wealthiest guy. I'm the one who made you who you are. Right? So you're not going to get the peace of mind. So the Prophet said that is not a good choice. The second choice, you marry a woman because of a position. It says not a good choice either. Compared to the fourth one. Because if you marry somebody because of a position, people vote people in, they vote them out. How many people, they were holding a position and today they're nothing. Right? Now if I marry somebody because of position and they vote her out, or they fire her, or they fire him, the damage of marriage is what? Is gone. Because the reason of marriage is gone. That is number two. Number three, I said the beauty also is not a reason to base on marriage. Why? Because you marry somebody because she looks beautiful, because she is 15, 17, 18. Tell me when she becomes 17. If she's going to be the symbol. No. Right? So the reason of marriage, if it's because of look, it doesn't last. The main part is, if you marry somebody because of Iman and fear of Allah, the Prophet said, I have one guarantee for you. Just listen. What is the guarantee, Ya Rasulullah? He said, I guarantee you, and the guarantee comes from Allah, if you marry a woman because of Allah, because of religion, I said, Allah guarantee me, the rest of the three will follow. The beauty comes back. Then the position will come, and the money will come as well. Allahu Akbar. That is, if a person is a man. If it's a woman, what happened? The Prophet told her also, if you want to look for a man, as a man in the marriage, it says, إِذَا خَطَبَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْدَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ. On top of the four, the woman also have the right to choose, and four categories as we mentioned. Plus, in a woman, they added two. One is, he has to be very religious. Right? A man who comes to ask your daughter's hand, he has to be religious. Allahu Akbar. And they asked Imam Hussein alayhi salam, why a man have to be God-weary, God-fearing? You know what Imam Ali said? The Imam Hussein said, he said, because if when he becomes angry, he will not oppress her. Now you understand why this is important. Now you go to our houses, what is happening? When we become mad at our husbands or wives, mashallah, what happened? Then the boxing starts. Right? Then I have to break your nose, I have to break your mouth. It is not like this. Domestic violence has no room in Islam. That's not Islam. And this happens from both sides. Because sometimes, mashallah, some women, they have muscles too. They beat their husbands too. Right? But the problem is, the husband doesn't come out to talk about it because he feels shy. My wife beat me up last night. Oh, you? Allahu Akbar. So what happened? He keeps silent. Right? Every day he misbehaves. MashaAllah, he gets some kind of lessons at home. Right? Now, this is not acceptable in Islam. No, the other one is accepted in Islam. No. In Islam, if a husband raises his hand on his wife and he causes a bruise, you know what Islam says? There is a diya. There is a money Islam charges you have to pay. Your own son, if you discipline your son, right, causes a blood, causes a bruise, in Islam, in fiqh, there is a page or there is a chapter called Babud Diyat, meaning the chapter of compensation. You have to compensate your son. You have to compensate your wife if you cause any damage on your wife. Am I right? It's haram in Islam. You cannot do that. Right? Now, going back, Islam says when you marry your daughter to somebody, make sure that he is a God-fearing man. Right? On top of that, he has to be khaluq. He has a good manners, good character. Right? Now, after this, Imam Ali tells us that this is the quality, this is the right of a child upon the father and the mother to make sure that they make this good choice for their child before the child even comes in the picture. Right? Now, that's the first part. That's the first right of a child upon the parents, both the father and the mother, that they have to make a good choice. So when we are to choose a spouse, it's not about me as a father. I want somebody who's nice. I want somebody who's cute. No. Think beyond that if she can be a good mother for your children. She can be a good wife today for you. But it's not just about you. It's about your children who will come in the future. Is she going to be a good mother? Is he going to be a good father for my children or not? That is the first thing we have to think. That is number one. Now, after you finish with the first right of your child, upon you as a father to be. The second right, Imam Ali said, which is another important one. He said, أَن تَخْتَارَ لِوَلْدِكَ إِسْمًا نَجِيبًا. It's the right of your child that you choose for your child, whether a boy or girl, a good name. Allahu Akbar. And now this is where we are failing today a lot. Because most of us today, when we have a child, we want to name our child a name nobody ever heard it. New name, new brand, right? No, one in town. Which is good in Islam. Nothing wrong with that. But one thing you have to know, your child has the right to make sure that you name him a good name. Right? Now you come to Ahlul Bayt, you ask Imam, what is the best name to name your child? For boys, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that the best of all the names are the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abdullah, Abdul Rahman, Abdul Rahim, Abdul Shakur, Abdul Khaliq, Abdul Wadud. These are the best name ever. You know the Prophet has a lot of names, right? But when they asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, what is your favorite name? He said the favorite name is Abdullah. Go to Quran, Prophet Isa alayhi salam, what was his name? Isa. But when they asked him, the first day he arrived in this world, he said, Inni Abdullah atani al-kitab wa ja'alani nabiyya. He said, my name is Abdullah, the servant of Allah. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he goes in the Kufa, serving the poor people in Kufa, he goes and covers his face. He doesn't want anybody to know him, right? When they ask him, who are you? You know what he tells people? He doesn't say, my name is Ali. He said, Ismi Abdullah. My name is a servant of Allah. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, the same thing. And in Medina, when he goes around, feeding the needies and the orphans and the widows, when they ask him, he says the same thing, Ismi Abdullah. Never calls his name Ali. No, he says, my name is Abdullah. And that is the best name to choose for your children. The second name that follows also are the names of the Prophet. That is the second best name. The name Muhammad. Allahu Akbar. And you know, our Imams, all our Imams, the 12 Imam, among the 12 Imam, we have 4 of them, their name Muhammad. 4 of them. 4 Muhammad. The first one is our Prophet. Right? The second one is Muhammad al-Baqir. Right? The fourth one, Muhammad al-Jawad. The fourth one is Imam al-Mahdi, the 12th Imam, which is the last Imam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They're all Muhammad and Muhammad and Muhammad. Right? And when you come to the next name, which is the best, is Ali. And they're also 4 among the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. 4 Muhammad, 4 Ali as well. The first one is Imam Ali alayhi salam. The second Ali is Imam Ali Zayn al-Abidin. The third Ali is the 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rada. And the 4th Ali is the Imam number 10, Imam Ali al-Hadi. Right? And the 4 Muhammad and 4 Alis. And these are the best names in Islam for men. And not only that, our Prophet mentioned, he said, any house that there is a name Muhammad or Ali, anytime a father calls Muhammad or Ali, they say shaitan melts in that house because shaitan cannot stand these 2 names. Not only that, they said anytime you have any serious discussion, right, and you want to get to the solution to that serious problem, they said if there is a child called Muhammad or Ali, call him to sit next to you. For the sake of these names, you will get to the good solution. That is Muhammad and Ali. Not only that, you come to our Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because sometimes a lot of us, our reasoning, we say, no, we have too much Ali in our family. We have too many Muhammads. Wallah, there is no too much. There's nothing called too much. There is nothing called too much when it comes to Muhammad or Ali. Now remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam. How many Ali he has? Ali al-Akbar, 1. Ali al-Awsat, 2. Ali al-Asghar, 3. And he said, Wallahi la wulida li alfa gulam la sammaytu kulluhum Ali. If Allah is to give me 1,000, not 100, 1,000 sons, he said, I will name all of them Ali. That is Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That is how much the name Ali means to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because this name is not a joke name. So if we are having a new child, even in a hadith is mentioned, when Allah grants you a child, and it's a boy, they say for the first week, at least give them Muhammad Ali. And then after a week, you can change it. But let them have the name Ali. And you want to know more about the importance of these names? Yawm al-Qiyamah. Not forget about it. I just gave you one example in terms of discussion. Naming a child Ali. Bring him close to you. You will get the best solution that you're looking for. Now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, listen to the benefit of the name Ali or Muhammad. You know, this is when a person comes, right, to meet with Allah. Hisab, right? Then Allah will say, what is your name? Say, my name is Ali. Or my name is Muhammad. Then Allah will say to him, do you know whose name is this? He say, yes. Who is it? I said, I know this is one of your beloved ones. Muhammad or Ali? Then Allah will ask him, that why did you name yourself after him? When you know he is my beloved one. You say, Ya Allah, my dad named himself. And I wanted to emulate and follow their steps. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the person, listen, I have made it mandatory upon myself not to burn any person in the hellfire who carries the name of my beloved Prophet or Imam. Then Allah tells him, he said, because of the name Muhammad or Ali that you carry, he said, I forgive you, go to the heaven. Just the name, Muhammad or Ali. That is how serious these names are. That is why Ahlul Bayt, they love these names so much. And the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, they're scared of these names. Right? For example, Muawiyah, one time when Ibn Abbas had a baby, and he named the baby Ali. And he had another nickname called Abu Hassan, which is another name of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Muawiyah heard, and he called Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas, I heard he had a baby. He said, yes, I did. What did you name him? I said, I named him Ali. Any other name? He said, yes. What is it? I said, Abu Hassan. Then Muawiyah said, La ajma' laka bayna al-ismayn. I will not allow you to combine the two names together. So why? I said, I want you to choose. Either you keep Ali, not Abu Hassan, or you keep Abu Hassan without Ali. One of them you have to choose. Why? Because he gets scared with the name Ali. And Ahlul Bayt will love this name. That is why it's very important. As the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, we should always go to name our children the names of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And if you don't name them Ali or Muhammad, they have other names too. Haidar is one of the names of Imam Ali. Right? Abu Turab is one of his names. Right? And so on and so forth. Or the Prophet has other names as well, like Mustafa. Right? And so on and so forth. But for the sisters, you are also encouraged to use the name of Zahra alayhi salam. And she has beautiful names too. Allahu Akbar. Zakiyya, Mardiya, Radiya, Ma'suma, Batul. Right? All of these are the names of Zahra alayhi salam. That if a person is to choose them, the child will emulate and become a good example in the society. Because these name, brothers and sisters, when we give our children name, if the name is good, inshallah, the child will grow up and follow the steps of that name. But if the name is bad, now you choose, for example, just an example, choose to name your child Fir'aun. Right? Say, my child, I'm going to name you Fir'aun and see what's going to happen in the area. Right? By naming your child Fir'aun, Allahu Akbar, he's going to show what the meaning of Fir'aun is. And you can see a lot of examples in the world today. Some people who were named certain names, they grew up and they were practicing exact what their name meant. And people were surprised. Why is he acting like that? No, his name means what he's doing. That is why it's very important in Islam. When we name our children, we have to pick the beautiful names of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and give them the best name. So that way the children will grow and have this beautiful name of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. That is number 2. Number 3, another right of a child. When a child is born, right, and the child is named, any other name that you choose, right? Now, there is another right Islam has put on the shoulder of the father and the mother. What is it? Is to teach the child Al-Quran. This is Imam al-Balagha. All what I mentioned is from Imam Ali alayhi salam. Number 3 is to teach your child a Quran. Now, teaching a Quran is 2 ways. One is, if I know how to read Quran, if I know how to teach, it's my responsibility to teach my child how to read Quran. If I don't, I have to take them to somebody who can teach them Quran. But unfortunately, that is one of the things we're missing. Today, our children, mashallah, they memorize everything, but they don't memorize Quran. We give our children, when their birthday comes, we give them many things, right? We buy them games, shoes, toys, right? Novels to read. But will none of us buy them the Quran to read? Allahu Akbar. And we know, all of us, we know, when we die and we go to the grave, one book they always remind us not to forget about it. You know the book? In the grave, talqeen, when imam or a person is telling the deceased, they say, وَإِذَا سَأَلَاكَ, when the 2 angels, they come to the grave and they ask you, مَا كِتَابُكَ, what is your book? What do you say? Al-Quran Kitab. We remind the deceased, remember, your book is Al-Quran. But how do we relate to that Quran? How many of us read Quran a day? Well, our imams, they emphasize about the importance of Quran. Today, a lot of us, we bring certain people, we hire tutors to come and teach our children math. Don't we? We hire other people to come and teach our children science. But how many of us bring somebody to teach our children Quran? How many of us hire other people to come and teach our children about Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam? Now you bring our children, how many of them are memorizing the names of imams in order? How many of them? They might know here and there, but to know their name in order, to know the birthdays and the death days and the place they were buried, how many of them know them? But you ask them about the basketball players, mashallah, their birthday, the place they play, everything, mashallah, it's like recorded. Right? But your imam, right? Which you have to answer Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah's not going to ask you, my basketball player. Allah's not going to ask you. Allah doesn't care that. Which is good. Playing basketball is not, we are not against basketball, soccer. No, it's good. Imam Ali tells you in Dua Kumail, it says stay on feet. Right? You just read Dua Kumail. Allahumma qawwi ala khidmatika jawarih. Wastud ala al-azimati jawanih. In Dua Kumail. Ya Allah, make my body stronger in your service. It's good. Right? To keep your body shape and strong, it's good thing. But what we're saying, there is priority. Our children, they need to know about our imams. We need to teach them about imams. And they need to know about the Quran. Even if you don't understand the meaning of Quran, you still need to learn Quran, and it is beneficial. Right? Have you read the story about a man who was reading Quran every day? Every day after Fajr prayer, he will open Quran and start reading. And he has a baby, grandson, who will come and sit next to the grandfather, and he will listen to the grandfather who is reading Quran. One day he asked the grandfather, do you understand what is Quran? The grandfather said no. Then the grandsons asked the father, why don't you read book that you can understand? Newspaper, novel, right? Other books that you can understand. Better than the Quran that you read, which you cannot understand. The grandfather wants to teach the grandson a lesson. He said, okay, I'll answer you, but not today. What happened? Days passed by. The grandfather went to the store and he bought a basket. He came and picked up his grandson. He said, grandson, come. The grandson came with him. He said, take this basket. He took the basket. He said, go to this river. I want you to fill this basket with the water and bring it to me. The grandson knows, what? Basket? Fill water? With the holes? It's impossible. The grandfather told the son, go and get the water. I told you, you can't go. The grandson took the basket, rushed to the river. He tried to fill the basket with the water. By the time he rushed to the father, all the water gone. The grandfather, it's not going to work. I can't fill this with the water. It's all holes. It's impossible. The grandfather said, no, you can if you try harder. Take it back. Try as hard as you can. You can fill this with water. The grandson took the basket one more time. Right? He went to the river. He tried to fill it up. Rushed to the grandfather. By the time he got the water all gone. You look at the grandfather and say, this is not going to work. I told you. The grandfather said, no, for the 10th time, try harder, you can get water. When the grandson looked at the father with the face like, are you kidding me? You tried the first time, the second time, and you're telling me still? The grandpa said, go and try for the 3rd time. I guarantee you, you can do something. He took the basket, went to the river, he tried to fill it with the water, he rushed back. By the time he got no water, he said, I told you, it's not going to work, grandpa. The grandpa said, okay, I understand. You tried, didn't work, right? But look in the basket. What can you see in the basket? I said, I look at it and there's nothing in there. He said, look at it the second time. You can see something. He said, no, I can't see something. There's nothing in there. I told him, look at it for the 3rd time. I can see something. Look. Hey, look. I said, grandpa, I can't see anything. There is nothing in the basket. He said, no, grandson. He said, when I gave you the basket, right, it was a little dirty. You took the basket to the river. You were not able to fill it with the water, but you were able to clean it. By just getting into the water, you were able to clean it, bringing it back and forth. I say you cleaned the basket without you knowing that you cleaned it, even though you were not able to bring the water with it. The same thing when I was reading the Quran, I might not be able to understand, but it's all as the Quran cleans my heart as I read it. Then the grandson started to learn from the father. Oh, that is the message you want to give it to me? Say yes. The Quran is the same thing Imam Ali said. He said, إِنَّ الْقُرْآنِ مَا جَالَسَهُ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا قَامَ عَنْهُ بِزِيَادَةٍ أَوْ نَقِيصٍ. Nobody sits with the Quran unless he lives with increase or decrease. You ask Imam Ali, increase in what? He said, increase in thawab and knowledge and decrease of ignorance and impurity. That is Imam Ali. That's Quran. So one of the responsibility of the father is to make sure that the children learn how to read Quran. That is responsibility number 3. Number 4, one of the responsibility of the parent is from the birth till 7 years, the child supposed to be as king in the family. No restrictions. Which means the Prophet tells us from the childhood till 7 years, the child needs this period to play, need the time to grow, need a time to explore, need a time to learn. But you know, some of us, mashallah, from 3 years old, we want our child to be, mashallah, like a 100 years old child. He gets everything. No. The Prophet tells us in the hadith, ضَعْ وَلَدَكَ يَلْعَبْ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ. Let your child to feel free, to play, and feel he's a child from the time of birth till the age of 7. Right? Because, why, Ya Rasulullah? Because from that age, from the time of birth till 7, the child mind is not strong enough to understand what you and I call the orders and the disciplines. No, they don't. But from the age of 7 and up, Islam said then you have to start to teach them things. Because at that time, their brain started to pick things. And that is what the Prophet says when you go to the hadith. He said, teach your children how to pray at the age of 7. Teach your children how to swim at the age of 7. From 7 and up, the child is now growing. Right? From the birth to 7, and from the 7 till they become 14, another 7. I said that is the time of learning, educating, teaching. Right? Then at the third 7, that is when the child becomes a friend. They become very close. And that is the time the child is supposed to start giving back what he or she took from the parents. Helping the parents. Right? But from the first 7 years and the second 7 years, they're supposed to be taken, learning from the parent. Right? That is one of the right of the child. That the father is supposed to give the child a time to grow, the time to learn. Right? Number 5, another right of the child upon the parents is to be a role model. Good example. You know, unfortunately, there is no time to go into deep example, but I'm just going to give you some key points. You know, some of us as a parent, we are not a good example for our children. Not only that, we are the one who teach our children a bad example. I'll give you some example. Number 1, you know, in the house sometimes, you see a father and the mother and the son or the daughter, they all live in the same house. Right? A man comes to visit. Especially that sometimes some people, they like to talk too much. Right? And the father doesn't want to meet with that person. When he looks from the window and he says, oh, this guy who likes to talk too much is here again. I don't want to talk to him. So what does he do? He sends the child to go and tell the man, tell him your dad is not home. Right? Now the child goes there. If the child is smart, he goes and tells them, my dad said to tell you he's not home. Oh, your dad said to tell me he's not home, right? Yes. Oh, okay. Right? That is the child. Because the child is pure. He doesn't know how to lie. And here, the scholar says, when a father or a mother tells the child these kind of things, the child, 3 times, he asks himself, before he get to where he was sent to, if this is real or fake. And sometimes they say, the child in between, he will turn to check if the dad is still there or not there. If he's telling the truth or he's lying. Because the child, that's why the Prophet said in one of the hadith, he said, I love children for many reasons. One of the reasons, because they tell the truth. They don't know how to lie. Now, when the child goes and started lying, and later on he learns to lie to the father, and the father says, how did you learn how to lie? I didn't teach you. No, you did that. Right? That is one. Another example, sometimes we make our children to learn how to lie in a way we don't feel. Example, a child breaks a glass in the house, in the room, right? In the kitchen. By mistake, he was playing, he breaks the glass. A mother or a father, you walk in, the child says, I broke the glass, right? Here, you know what you're supposed to do? No, don't break the glass again. Be careful. He learns from this mistake. Now, some parents, now you broke the glass, Allahu Akbar, you have to pay that. Right? What happened? Tak, hit it, right? Good. You know what you're doing to this child? You're teaching how to lie. By doing so, you are automatically teaching the child how to lie. Next time he breaks the glass, what do you think is going to happen? You think he doesn't remember what happened the first time? Yes. The second time when he breaks the glass, now automatically you taught him not to tell you the truth. So when he breaks the glass, you say, who broke the glass? I don't know. What? I don't know. Right? And not only that, sometimes you teach him how to make innocent people to be criminals. What is it? I said, I didn't break it. Ali broke it. Oh. How did it happen? Because the father was not right in his discipline in the first time. Or the mother, instead of making nice to the child, talking to him nicely, you hit him or you discipline in the way you're not supposed to, then the child learns to become a liar in the future. And that is one of the things we have to be careful. As a father, as a mother, we have to be very soft with our children. And learn not to call your children names too. Unfortunately, sometimes, some parents, we intend intentionally naming our children, giving them some names. Right? He doesn't understand. He is this, he is this. That kills the spirit of your child. Your child's supposed to feel what? Encouraged, loving, feeling the parents, they care about him. That is very important in the family. That is number 5. Number 6, one of the rights of the child is to let the child know when it's right and wrong. And when they do something right, praise them. Acknowledge it. When they do something wrong, also let them know they're wrong. But unfortunately in our families, right? Most of the time the child only hear negative, not the positive. When he does something wrong, Allahu Akbar. A week will pass by, every day the child have to hear it. Right? But when he does something positive, no comment. You know what Imam Ali says? He said, وَلَا يَكُونَنَّ الْمُحْسِنُ وَالْمُسِيءُ عِنْدَكَ بِمَنْزِلَةٍ سَوَاءٍ. Don't let a child who has done good and the one who has done bad to be equal in your sight. No. Appreciate a child when they do something positive. Why? Because that helps them to continue to do good. And that is what Allah does with us too. With the Quran, Allah tells you, if you pray, you go to Hajj, you pay your zakat, Allah says there is heaven for you. If you disobey Allah, there is hellfire for you. Allah and Islam teaches that we have to have the same thing for our children. Then in the house, the child's supposed to feel proud when they do something positive. Because it creates that spirit in the child, that the child becomes more, that he has more enthusiasm, so that he can do more good things and continue to be a good child in the family. That is why when you come to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they always taught us how to raise a child in the society where the child becomes a good child and a good product in the family. And that is very important. And there are so many of them. But when you come to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you can tell when he raised his children, like Sukaina alayhi salam, right? Like Imam Zayd al-Abidin salamullah alayhi, like Ali al-Akbar, who learned from a father like Imam Hussein alayhi salam, or Imam Hassan alayhi salam and his children. They all learned to become good children because they were raised in the right way. One of them is Qasim ibn al-Hassan. You know, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, before he passed away, before his shahada and his martyrdom, he wrote a will to his son Qasim. And he said to him, Bunayya Qasim, when Allah gave you a life to live to see the day of Ashura, when you hear your uncle Hussein is calling for help, he said, do not hesitate to help. He wrote that will and he gave it to Imam Qasim. On the day of Ashura, after the entire companions were killed, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was looking left and right, and he started to call his companions. Ya Muslim, Ya Burayr, Ya Zuhair, Ya Habib, and none of them will answer. And he said, why don't you respond to your Imam, to your master? Is it because your heads has been separated from your bodies? And then Imam Hussein came back and said, yes, I know. If you were alive, you will not be silent to your Imam. You will respond to your Imam. Now after that, Qasim ibn al-Hassan came out. And he said to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, oh my uncle, ya Amma, ana nasiruk, I'm here to support you in help. Imam Hussein alayhi salam looked at him and he said to him, ya Qasim, he said, you are the only child left for my brother. I don't want you to be killed and then the lineage of my brother Hassan will end. So I want you to live and stay and be the one that keeps his lineage. Qasim alayhi salam, he took the letter from his pocket and he showed to his uncle Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein took that letter, he opened it and he said, he read the letter, Ya Qasim, Imam Hassan is telling his son Qasim, he said, La tuqassir fi nusrati ammika al-Husayn. Do not hesitate in supporting and helping your uncle Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when he read that letter from his brother Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he had Qasim alayhi salam, and he cried while Qasim was also crying. They both cried. The narration said they both cried until they both fell on the ground. After that, Qasim alayhi salam asked permission to go to the battlefield. Imam Hussein alayhi salam gave him the permission. He went to the battlefield and he was saying, Ana al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan. He said, I am the Qasim, the son of Hassan, and I'm ready to strike with this sword. As he was going on his way to the battlefield, the narration said that his slippers torn, and he stopped to fix them. One of the enemies said, Wallahi la uthqilanna hadha al-ghulam bi-ammihi al-Husayn. I will kill this son to make sure that his uncle loses him. Allahu Akbar. While Qasim was leaning to fix his slippers, this guy came from the back and struck Qasim alayhi salam. Qasim alayhi salam then screamed and called his uncle, Assalamu alayka ya Ammah ya Hussein. And said, peace be upon you, my uncle Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, anytime a call comes, he rushed to that person. Immediately Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushed to Qasim alayhi salam. He got to the Qasim alayhi salam. Qasim was in his final moment. He picked him up. He was holding him. He was looking at Qasim alayhi salam. And all he could see is to see his brother Hassan alayhi salam, who was killed by poison a few years ago. And now here is his son. He is now being struck and is covered with his blood. Imam Hussein alayhi salam look at Qasim and he says, Akhi Bunayya al-Qasim, oh my son Qasim, قتلوك قتل الله قوما قتلوك. They killed you, may Allah kill those who killed you, my son Qasim. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, while he was looking at Qasim, Qasim lost his life in the arm of his uncle Hussein alayhi salam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.